like I say, not necessarily that these people previously couldn't get the best out of our players. It just started to get to a point, Mark, where, these resumes, and I talk about it like this because you look at and you say, we want to be a playoff team. We want to be a championship program. Well, there's only about 8 of those every year in conversation. 8. I say 8, which is why I don't think the playoffs should expand more than that. But that's neither here nor there. It's about 8. And maybe you go to 10 if you want to add just a championship, conference level championship program, because you need 2 of those to play each other. So I get that. But you look at those staffs and you wonder why, Miami wasn't really having people get hired from their staffs. And Coach Efren Banda was the first one hired from and got a promotion, went on to be a defensive coordinator. Our DCs were going down to be position coaches. Our OCs are going down to just be position coaches as opposed to getting levels up. And now you look around college ball and you understand yes, you want to build an all-star team, just like people say about NBA. You want to build an all-star team on the football field. But more importantly, you build an all-star team off the football field with your strength and conditioning staffs, with your assistant coach staffs, with your nutrition staffs, with your academic advisor staffs, with your NIL deal staffs. Like you're starting to talk about a 50 and 60 person hub of people who interact with your players on a day-to-day that excludes the head coach and his direct assistants. So you have to invest in all those other avenues to even be on par, okay? And I hadn't seen that from Miami. I hadn't. And he as in Coach Cristobal, comes from the Nick Saban tree, where you look at some of his staffs, future national championship coaches on there, future big-time head coaches on there. 2015 staff had Michigan State head coach Mel Tucker, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin, Miami/Oregon at the time when the picture came out, head coach Mario Cristobal. You also had Kirby Smart, head coach of Georgia. And you also had Florida's new head coach was on that staff as the wide receivers coach. Mel Tucker was just DBs. Coach Cristobal was head of recruiting and O-line. Offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach was Lane Kiffin. Like, if you want to aspire to be on the same field as people like that and actually be able to compete, you need those kind of level minds in their teaching. And again, I'm not saying Miami's a national championship. I'm not saying we're going to the ship. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you all to get and grasp where I'm coming from, man, because it's starting to feel like it, and I'm just excited.
2 things come to mind. One is when you talk about being excited about the current coaching staff not being a direct disrespect to any previous coaches, it's like this. I'll go through this process in the next couple of months. I'll rank the coaches in each conference. So I'll take all 14 head coaches in the ACC and I'll go through my criteria and I'll rank them. That doesn't mean somebody's got to be ranked 14th. Somebody's got to be 13. Somebody's got to be 12. And then, of course, there'll be comments that come in. And I don't mind the comments questioning my rankings. I mind the comments that assume that even if I clearly state that maybe I believe all these coaches are capable coaches, but somebody's got to be ranked 14th and somebody's got to be 13th, that I'm a hater. And it's the same thing here. Anytime there's just different levels to the profession. That's all there is to it. Pat Narduzzi, I'm just going to throw out one name. That guy's a really good head coach at the University of Pittsburgh. But if they had the opportunity to hire Nick Saban, well, then that would be a significant upgrade. But Pat Narduzzi, that doesn't mean he's a bad coach, because he's not. He's really good. So there has just been an obvious upgrade to the coaching staff. It's just again, it's just obvious. The other thing that comes to mind, and man, I would love to be able to find this on YouTube. It's in NFL films that you may have run across at some point. But as soon as you were talking about the great coaching staff at Alabama 5 or 6 years ago, there's an NFL films where they have the last Cleveland Browns staff under Bill Belichick. Have you seen this?
It is mind blowing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I was a big NFL guy before I became a college football guy. So that was on
the
NFL
NFL
Network for years. Yeah.
Love the old NFL stuff. So yeah, there's this documentary that's just phenomenal. So the wholesome one knows what I'm talking about. But if you can find it, and especially if you love the insight into coaching, and I don't know if the NFL film was just part of it, they got a little bit lucky because at the same time that this historic coaching staff was together, the city of Cleveland was losing its franchise. And that was a historic move that happened kind of in the middle of the night where people were completely taken off guard. But anyway, back to the coaching. They have all this film from these meetings and in practice, and it's fascinating to listen to these guys talk when you're talking Bill Belichick's the head coach, Nick Saban's an assistant, Jim Caldwell, who is later the Detroit Lions head coach, is an assistant, Kirk Ferentz, the current Iowa coach, is an assistant. I'm forgetting a couple other guys, but it's phenomenal.
It's history, it runs deep. It runs deep, man. And that's the other beautiful thing about what we're experiencing with Coach Cristobal is that he comes from two very, very well flourishing trees. In the Butch Davis tree, originally as a grad assistant under Butch Davis in the late 90s for Miami. Once he got back here, I think in 95 is when he started here at Miami, whether it be in a quality control or a grad assistant position. Then also under Coach Saban. So, I mean, we don't just give all credit to Coach Saban. Let's not forget he played for some very good coaches, and he coached under, at his time wearing the orange and green, and some great coaching fraternities. So it's a beautiful thing. You could tell by the way he carries himself. Today, Mark, I went and listened to his last presser after the debacle versus Utah in the Pac-12 championship. And because when it came out, you could tell the kind of man we were dealing with. Yes, there was talks and things like that, but he was very open and honest. But he was, let's be respectful of the University of Oregon. Let's be respectful of all parties involved. There's no answers here. He was just, even in the mix of just getting his ass kicked, and these people are throwing questions at him about him leaving for Miami, he still was very respectful. And that stuck out to me because adversity, when it comes, it reveals character, not creates character. And so you're watching him really struggle with wanting to kind of say other things, but he keeps it monotone. He very relaxed, even though he wants to get fired up. And to me, that's the kind of coach we need right now. We need a coach that whatever the situation dictates, he can bring the proper energy towards it and correct it and move forward. Okay. Whether it be celebration time, he can come dance with you and have a good time with you. If it's time to get stuff in order, he can do that. If it's time for you to be chewed out, he can do that also. But he does it with respect, and he does it in a way that people can trust their son to him, and that means a lot to me because I've been bamming this door for a while for Coach Cristobal, and to see it happen and to see some of the reasons pop up, it's just positive, man. I really love it. I really love to see it. And I'm happy for the young man.